In this video, I'm going to try to describe, I have a problem with working too hard. I get it in my head that I should be the best employee I should, and I'm always trying to boost profits, but sometimes I go too far at my own expense, and I do everything I can, including like, I've had employees tell me, hey, you're doing too much work, you're making us look bad. Stuff like that. Like I did everybody else's trash multiple times in my most recent job, and somebody pulled me aside and said that. And then I did it again and again. And then they came over and said, no, Zach, really, when you do the trash for us all the time, I'm like, I don't tell anybody I'm doing it. It's not like I complain to the management that I'm doing it. If I got hurt, I maybe then she would hear it, but no, I'm not getting hurt doing that. And if it was so much where I would get hurt, I would complain to you directly. I'd say, no, go get your trash. But they said that I'm working too hard and I'm making the other employees look bad. Because on my shift, I'm doing way too much. And then on their shifts, they do little. And then on my shift, I do their leftover work. And then I do too much. So that's a problem. I'm doing way too much at work, getting too much done. And it's something that's hard for me because how do you not just try super hard? My whole life, I've had to try super hard at everything just to survive. With a mother like mine, turning everything into horrible confusion, horrible shit, drugging me, doing all that. I want to put my best into it, but it is a problem at times. And I'm going to use Buyers Associated as the example so you understand. I worked for Buyers Associated. And we sold natural products kind of like this. Silly Cow Farm hot chocolate. Natural type stuff. Super expensive for rich people. We also had spices from all over the country sent in, but not spices like in the jar, not McCormick. No, these come in a bag. Buy like the 10-pound bags, like that, like 10 pounds, 5 pounds. I think we might have had some in 1 pound. The only 1-pounders we had are the more common ones. But if you wanted like bay leaves, you would probably find that in 10, 20-pound bags. It's giant. Some of them are hard to carry. And I wasn't really good in the cooler aisle. And that's where we keep the spices, are in the cool aisle. I would never work in the freezer because they kept it so negative because they keep storing ice cream. And the problem with the ice cream is that these were all natural ice creams. Now, tell me, do you know what the difference between the soft ice cream you buy in the grocery store and the ice cream you buy that's super expensive that I was eating from this store that has weird names on it, but they have all organic products, all natural ingredients, real cane sugar, just all that. The ice cream you get that's really, really expensive, that comes in the small little tubs, that's all you get. We didn't sell any big gallons or anything. You get the small little tubs. And by the way, we sell giant cases of it, not one small little tub. You would get giant strips of them. That's how they come. There would be 3 ice cream tubs in one. And then you would have multiple strips in this big package. And then that would be wrapped with plastic. The difference is we did not have any antifreeze in our ice cream. Our ice cream that we were sending out to like Demoulas or Hannaford's, or a lot of the restaurants would buy other stuff. Like we sold a lot of noodles, and we actually had real wasabi. We did have an order of the real wasabi for the restaurant. And this is 100% real wasabi. And this is for expensive restaurants, not Chinese food down the street. We're talking about Japanese restaurant, Thai places that are high end. We're sending some to Mass, some to Maine, some all over New Hampshire. So these run, I think we even had one much farther, I think it was Vermont. Yeah, it was Vermont. We get stuff in and we send stuff out to Vermont as well. Buyers Associate had contracts everywhere sending that stuff out. I mean, those labels, oh, we had contract, and one of the jobs, the hippy dip, the most hippy dippy girl who, and by the way, there was a weed line outside every break. Everybody who worked at this hippy dippy health store called, health warehouse that sells all natural foods, they used to line up their cars outside on lunch and break, and they would all smoke weed. Every single person on the night shift, they would line up their cars and start smoking up. And the police would come by, and the night staff already had a talk with the police officer not to pull anybody over who smokes weed out there because they're on their lunch because they're doing night shift. Anyway, so I was working the night shift, and I've noticed that people destroy the good stuff so they can bring it home. Because the way it works is, let's say this, for instance. This is a ginger hot chocolate. Let's say one of my employees wanted one. These assholes will purposely go oops and drop the corner of it, breaking it on purpose so that they can take some home. Now, those come in 6-packs. But the 6-packs get stacked. Actually, I think it was 12. It might have been 2 6 with a, yeah, there was a piece of cardboard separating it. But there's 6 and 6, one larger box, and then you got a bunch on a crate. So you drop one, right? And then you get we get them for free. Now, we're supposed to be respectful of that rule so that we can get free stuff. Accidents happen. You try not to break stuff. That's my attitude. And I have a force of habit of trying my hardest, so I never dropped anything on purpose ever, and I don't think I broke anything. I think I had a couple bags ripped, though. I think I did have a bag ripped. I was trying to lift it, and I think it got caught on the plywood, and it got pulled. Because some of the grains, like rice, come in these giant bags, and they have thick paper on it. But the rats also try to eat holes in it, because we had rats bigger than your foot running through the place. And sometimes you would see them trying to get into the grains, and then those bags have to be written off. And so, yeah, anyways, they'll try to run over your feet sometimes. So with people trying to purposely break stuff, I would try my hardest to make sure nothing ever got broken. One day, I was having a little difficulty. I was very weak, very, very seizure-like. Neurological activity was strong that day. I felt a little cold when I was going through the cooler, and it was bothering me a lot. Luckily, I don't have to work in the freezer at all. That's one person's specialty, and they get like $5 more than the rest of us. So they're making $20 an hour. But they keep that freezer below zero so far that you can only last about 60 seconds. Nobody in that building, even the crate drivers who work in there, the one guy who works in there, would run a giant forklift in there, vroom, 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 out. And you would see him, and he would try to wrap himself with jackets as he puts the thing down. You can see him preparing himself. And as the big, heavier set guys go in there, you can see them open the door, go in. There'll be like 30 seconds, grab an ice cream, because we all get free ice cream. There was always crates open, but apparently we were allowed to open the ice creams too, because I asked boss lady if I could open them because somebody told me that, and they said, yeah, ice creams are free game. You can have as much ice cream as you want, no matter which one is in there. I said, really? The vanilla bean looks good, and that was wicked good. Real cane sugar, real farm milk that's like top notch, and real vanilla bean, so you can see the actual vanilla bean pieces in the ice cream, and it was delicious. A little more stiff. Without the antifreeze in ours, it's stiffer because all the grocery store ice creams have a drop of antifreeze whipped into it. Now, they put it on the label in a different way, but if you go to their website or if you call them, they will tell you there's a small amount of antifreeze used in manufacturing the ice cream that you do eat, but a safe level under guidelines. That's why it's usually not put in the label. Sometimes they will add it as an additive. They'll call it an additive or a um, freezing additive or a extra ingredient. They'll add a word like that to try to get away. But if you check and do your research, most 99% of ice creams sold on the market at grocery stores, at least the ones that you notice are soft, if you ever put your spoon in an ice cream from a grocery store and it feels soft, that's an antifreeze ice cream. That's what makes it so soft as it sits there for 6 months to a year. The ice creams we sold at this little health store, there's natural foods that sells to all these top end health stores, food producers that sell like all natural goods at their place. We sell to restaurants real wasabi. That's hard to come by. Super hard. I mean, I've gone to the grocery store and I can never fucking find real wasabi. But my work before did have it. Now, why did I leave this work? For one, my body's rotting me. Two, I had no transportation. So, anyways, the point here I'm going to get is to more details on how I am when I'm working. So, other people are breaking the rules. I don't like that. And one person was a little mad at me because I got the wrong box and stuff like that. And so instead of arguing with them, I said, I understand you're mad at me for grabbing the wrong box over there, but I've only been here for 30 days, and I would like to make it so we can work better together so we can get more done. If you're mad at me and I'm feeling some type of way, we're probably going to communicate less. But, we could just, move on with this, and I'm willing to try to do anything to move our jobs along and help each other. And she was like, what? Are you a guy? You talk this out like one of us. That's a great idea. And she was so happy. She was like talking to all her girlfriend buddies. I like that Zach. He's nothing like that young David who brings Zach in. The cannonball. They call him the cannonball because he runs through every red light in town on purpose. And it's like, boom, he goes like sick. I was going to die in that. I'm so glad I found Evan, an old guy, to drive me home. I transferred to Evan, and it was so much better. Oh my God. Evan was a great guy. He kept the place running, and they needed to give him more money. He was getting paid less than me, and he was working there for 10 years or more, and he was getting paid less than the people coming in. Fuck you guys for paying Evan less than any newcomer coming in. That is stupid. Pay Evan whatever you're paying people coming in the door, because he was holding that place together. 3 people relied on Evan to come into work. 3 people. That was messed up, that Evan. And you know what? Evan had a 4th one and a 5th one morning rides. That's why I ended up losing my rides, is because I couldn't afford it no more. And Evan needed to give another spot, and we couldn't fit any more people in the car. So he was rotating us back and forth, and that wasn't working. One shift me, next shift him. Then I have to find a ride halfway. He has to find a ride halfway, and it wasn't working for him or me. But anyways, what we are going to try to get to is when I tried to get the sodas. I was really not feeling too well one day. I went to get some sodas. This is Chair Rocker soda. Yeah, it's like natural cane soda. Chair Rocker, and I was getting the lemonade one. I like the cherry pop one, and the cola isn't bad, but this is the lemon one. Chair Rocker lemonade or something. So I'm grabbing a giant case of this. I think they're 48 in a case. And I'm loading up my cart that is only like 2 spots down. But my foot spasms at the worst fucking time. I'm carrying the 48 glass with metal caps in a cardboard box, 12-ounce bottles, and my foot spasms, and I start falling. And as I'm start falling, I realize that my chest is going to hit this box of glass. I let go of the box as I try to catch myself. But I have an instinct whenever anything falls, phones, coffee mugs, glass, anything falls out of my hand, or I start having spasms, I stick my foot out so the phone will hit my foot and then I don't have to break it. But it hurts like a bitch. One time it was a big glass and I tried to stick my foot out and oh my God, I was almost sprained it, just like I did this time. I dropped the 48 fucking lemonade fucking glass bottles, this case, and I tried to stick my fucking foot out like an idiot. And of course, it does keep them all from breaking. My foot, it hits first. The edge coming down on the metal, on the cement floor, my foot is what it hits first. Then you hear the other side go bang. So foot first, left bang back, and then I'm forward on it. Remember, I'm falling. So first, it falling, and so it's gonna fall on my chest like. So I trip, I let go, the case hits my foot, I fall forward. Instead of it hitting my chest, I end up being able to kind of trip over it. It kind of hits my upper thighs and I fall over it. But I was able to save every single glass bottle so we could still sell it. I was able to check it, not a single leak, everything was still mint, and there was not even a bent corner. My foot is what the corner hit, the little side. So my foot protected the glass. The other side slammed down, and I was so lucky because there was still enough force to break it. But my foot took the shock out of it. But guess what? I had a sprained ankle. And I limped for about 10 days, and it hurt because I had to now lift heavy, heavy, heavy objects with a sprained ankle, a neurological disorder, and so many other health issues. And I made myself worse by saving inventory. And what would have happened if I just let go and fell to the right, try to kick off to the left or right? What would have happened if my foot spasmed and every time that happened, I just let go of whatever was heavy? I'd be damaging products and we would all get free soda for the day. Well, that might sound like a good thing, but I don't think it does. Because now, if you're doing it, if you can help it and stick your foot out, maybe don't do that. But if you can come up with some way to save it from breaking, I would say do that. But my reflex is to stick my foot out to make sure nothing breaks because I use my foot like an airbag. But if it's heavy, like one of those glasses, I had a heavy fake crystal tall glass. It was so heavy, it almost, it did, it hurt my foot. And I almost had a knife go through my foot because I dropped the knife one time and I stuck my foot out. And I was lucky because the back of the knife hit my foot and then it just fell on the ground. And when I looked down and saw this, I almost had a heart attack seeing a knife hit my foot with the back end. So that oh my God, if that was blade down, I'd be in the hospital right now. All because I have a reflex. I don't even do it with looking. When I drop something, my head starts going down, and as soon as I look at my foot and I see something come in my range, I just like instinctively try to catch it. It's like catching a baseball, except for with your foot. It's like blocking something. In the programs, we had a lot of stuff, and one thing we did learn is trying to block stuff when we're throwing stuff from room to room. Foam balls, tennis balls, throwing stuff from one room to the other. Sometimes people try to hit you with a tennis ball, and we would toss it back and forth, play ball, or something like that. And one thing I was good at is I could use my foot to block stuff. Well, I also try to catch it, but I tried so hard to save them money that I sprained my foot. And then I'm lifting. So now they got cameras in there. So what happened when I told my manager? I didn't. I worked with the limp and I just told my manager, I think I might have sprained my ankle and I'm not quite sure why. I knew why. 48 glass bottles of chair rocker lemonade or lemon soda or whatever it was went down on it with the whole corner force and then went back on the other side as I fell too. because I had to fall over the damn soda because I was falling. I had a leg spasm. Then I kind of lost my grip and I had to let go of the other side because the left side or the right side went down, and now I'm falling and I got to let go of the other side. And of course, you got to try to do all this as you go down. And it was just like reflex time. But my reflexes weren't protect myself. My reflexes were save the soda. We don't want work. I'm going down. I'm falling. Why is my nervous system telling me stick your foot out to save the soda as I am falling? Who gives a fuck about the soda? Everybody will say good job when they get a free one because we have a rack. When anything breaks, it goes on it. Well, other people are purposely trying to destroy something like that so they can have a drink of soda, like an asshole. I'm out there spraining my ankle, sticking my foot out to stop merchandise from breaking so I can still put it and send it to the companies. I mean, that's just who I am. I work too hard. I try too hard, and I do a good job at it. My ankle, I still had higher numbers than at least 2, 3 other employees, and I was by far the weakest. Maybe one girl was about the same muscle mass, but I was by far the weakest one, but yet my numbers were third to last. Sometimes I was at least up to second or third. I never came in first. We had the nuts guy on drugs doing that. And then the second guy, I'm pretty sure, was drinking. But at least I wasn't that far back down. I was getting good weight. By the first month finishing, my weight was doing all right. I wasn't the worst and I wasn't the best. But also, when I sprained my ankle, I still showed up for my job. I still lifted and did my job with a sprained ankle, making it worse, wrapping it at home, all for me trying to save merchandise so my company can have more money. And then I continue to work too. So it's not like they lost anything. Some people would say, "Oh, well, if you do that, you'll get injured and then you'll be useless to them." And you're right. That's the fucking problem. If you work too hard, you burn yourself out, you work 60, 80 hours, you work 2 to 3 jobs, then you're useless to the third job who needs you. If you're working 2 jobs, but you work too much hours at the first job, like if you're working 40 hours at one job and 28 at another, there might be a problem at the job at 28 hours. You might show up burnt out and be useless to them. Something I learned. Do not try to work too hard. And that's what I keep doing is I care more about the company. I got employees telling me I'm making them look bad. I'm doing other people's work, but I'm supposed to. I'm saving merchandise. I'm making extra sales. I'm getting rid of merchandise that hasn't moved in years. I'm doing all the filling. I'm bringing more customers in that they haven't had for a while. There's a lot. The people that don't get along with me are the drug dealers and the people who look gangster-like usually. They don't understand disabled people, elderly people, kindness, respectfulness. Like maybe the hipster or the jock, or it's usually young criminal types. They don't like me at all. But elderly people, disabled people, normal people, old women, women in their 50s, men in their 40s and up, just lots of type of peoples. I mean, everybody might have their own problem. Like if I refuse to sell them something, or if I had to tell them to leave because they're hitting on a 16-year-old or they're hitting on other people in the store, I can't comment on that, and I don't want you hitting on women inside the store. That's disrespectful. If I say something to another guy, they might get mad at me. Oh, hey, man, look at that ass on her. I'll take her melons, yeah. Man, she's in the store. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave if you keep talking like that. What? You would do that to me, Zach? Yeah, I would. Fuck you. Then that guy doesn't like me anymore. But she could hear him as she walked up. Remember that. And I have a job to do. So there are people who dislike me for going the extra mile as well. But I think you get the idea of what type of stuff I go through. This is my, I tried this twice, but I had difficulty um, talking tonight. But I hope I explained some of the interactions. I'll give you one funny thing to end on. When I was working at Buyers Associate, I worked nights. They had everybody lined up smoking weed in their cars. There would be 3 cars, 2 people in the first one, 1 to 2 people in the second one, and 3 people in the third one. And when I say 1 to 2 in the second one, that second person would be me. Occasionally, I would jump in one of the cars, but everybody would sit in the cars smoking weed, and they wouldn't even eat. I would try to force down as much food for energy as I possibly could. And I was taking CBD, ginseng, and Benadryl at night. Yeah, that was the combo. Yep, that was it. Oh, and cream for my back and legs. But not the CBD creams I've recently made. This was just something that I actually got from a different health store. I was in Dover, I think. Might have been Summersworth. No, it's Dover. Anyways, they had a cream. It was like 60, 80 bucks. Said it was CBD. Now, I also have tried weed cream before too, but nobody brought me to get that. So CBD is what I could get in Dover. They don't have weed cream there. But they had a deal with there would be a police officer driving by every night, and the whole block would reek. I mean, reek. And it's a daycare. They're lined up. So across from Buyers Associated was a daycare center or some school daycare or something. But remember, it's night. It's like 3 in the frickin' morning or 1 in the morning. But you got 3 cars lined up with people who are ripped shit high as a kite on weed. So everybody on the night shift was stoned shitless. And I couldn't believe it. When I only lasted 3 months there. It wasn't my tea. For one, I can't smoke weed in work. So I didn't like smoking weed. At the end of my shift, I would hop in the car. We got an hour or 2 left. I'm really sore. Okay, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. I think I have one in the fridge or something in there, and yeah, I'll take a hit, and then I'm gonna eat a hot pepper. What are you doing with the hot pepper? I don't know. It wakes me up. Now that's not gonna put me to sleep, right? No, Zach. We smoked a sativa. I don't. Okay. I just don't want a seizure, and I also don't want to fucking fall asleep. I'll take a couple puffs, but that's about the best I would do within about a 10-day period. Is maybe smoke once at the end of my shift, but it wasn't for me. Smoking at work wasn't for me. Like they say, oh, it helps me lift. All you have to do, yeah, I can read it. I can work on stone, just reading and that. And it did help lift, I guess, a little bit. But if I got the wrong weed, oh boy, that wouldn't agree with me. Plus, I mean, how about if I need to do something more special, like drive home? Yeah, right? You got 3 cars with everybody baked. You got 2, 1, and 3. So that's 3, 4, 5. That's 6 people. And if I join in, that's 7. That only leaves 1 other person, 8. Oh, and the girl who's upstairs that goes on her separate breaks, 9. That's it. That is everybody that works there on the night shift. What the hell are you going to do? And then we have one position open too. We had some girl come in and then she left, and there was a guy who came in and he left. They only did 1 day and left. I like the cute girl. I'm like, why couldn't they let me do the cute girl? I mean, why couldn't we have her? Why couldn't they let me train her? I would have loved to do the training. But instead, the hippy dippy acid girl got the trainer. They don't think they liked each other very much after. Maybe that's why she never came back. I was very nice to her and she smiled. She seemed like me. I'm always very nice. That's another problem. I'm always nice, kind, I try to go the extra mile, but then people get a little mad because I stick to the rules. And then they're like, Zach, come on, really? To me, I'm one of your best customers. You wouldn't throw me out for hitting on a 16 for a girl in your store. Well, I would throw you out for hitting on any girl, by the way. But there was a customer hitting on a 16-year-old. There was another customer that was hitting on women in general, an Asian woman on the fridge. And I had to throw one of those two out because they weren't listening when I told them you can't talk like that in front of them. They can hear you that loud coming up. I mean, what are you trying to do? Get me in trouble? No, no. I mean, it's okay to say something in private, but you're being loud, saying, "Oh man, look at those melons. I'd like to buy those melons," and then saying, "Oh, I like to bring her back to my place." Yeah, well, yeah, stuff like that. I'm sorry. Once when she's up and she's hearing you, and you're talking to me, the guy running the store by himself. And I know I changed jobs. I went from buyers associated to me running a store by myself. So sorry about the jump. But yeah, that's the type of stuff I have to deal with. And I'm very good at it. I'm very good at just running my own store by myself. When you add assholes in it, that's when the problems happen. And then I have to pick up their slack. So the more assholes you add in, the more slack I have to pick up and the more they're going to dislike me. Also, they're going to have to pick up slack if I have a seizure, and they might not do it. When I end up in the hospital, I usually come right back. But a lot of times, nobody wants to cover at all. Not for Claudette, not for anybody. Nobody, I'm the only person that goes, "Oh, you need somebody? Yeah, I'm at a birthday party, but I'll be right there. Yeah, I'm at the hospital, but you're right there. Yeah, I'm supposed to be recovering, but I'll be right there. Yeah, I got an appointment in an hour. I'll try to make it there." I'm the only person that will ever cover, but this management is the one responsible for covering. But sometimes, a lot of times, my management is also at the doctor's because she works more hours than me and she gets only one day, maybe every month, that is a weekday. Usually it's like Saturday or Sunday for management. If you want to go to the doctors, though, for a company that's shorthanded, like the gas station I ran, oh, no, no, no. You are going to have tough luck getting to the doctors. So I felt for her because I have trouble getting to the doctors. She has trouble going to the doctors. So I left my doctor so she could go to hers because she was never going to get a spot again, or she might have had to call out herself, but she's responsible for coming in. So there was so much of that stuff to deal with. That's why it's best for me to, be by myself, working at a gas station, convenience store, pipe store, tobacco store. Any would work just fine. I actually did okay with convenient Smoke Valley too, and all that type of stuff. But I wasn't technically employed there. That was K2 related. So he wouldn't even tell the cops when I was opening boxes before that. How I got good in with Smoke Valley is I was opening up boxes in the back, just putting Gatorades up. They sent me out where I could just have lunch, and the police arrested me out front just for having a bag of chips and eating my lunch. They arrested me for trespassing. Then, as they were bringing me in for trespassing, they added a charge of possession with a dangerous weapon for the box cutter I had. It was a different type of knife. It was it's whatever they had in the store. I don't even know what you call it. It's the knife they had at the store to open boxes, and it was nice of them to give it to me in the first place. I liked it. It was actually like a real kind of small one, but it was real. Okay, you ever been to Home Depot and seen the small keychain knives or the bigger keychain knives that they have at Home Depot with the little jag tooth that you use for opening stuff, like cutting open tape and stuff? Have you seen those? Yeah, it was like that. It had a couple teeth, straight blade, and it was probably about the length of your pinky. no bigger than my middle finger. No, sorry, middle finger would be too big. No bigger than thumb too small. Pinky's about right. Yeah, the blade was about the length of the pinky, and the handle was about the length of the pinky. Yeah. So yeah, if you double your pinky size, that's about the length of the whole knife when it's open. The blade is only the exact pinky. If you look at your pinky right now, that is only the size of the blade that they gave me. And I'm in front of the store I'm working at with it. And we're in Lawrence, for goodness sake. There's a drug dealer on the side right as we speak. There's a kid coming up to me asking me, he has a handful of K2 and he's going, K2, all high as a kite, in front of the police. I'm already arrested, right, for just trespassing and having a knife. But as we're leaving and as I'm talking and they're putting on the cup, this kid, high gonzo, has a handful of K2 and says, I finally found, oh, and he grabs it and tries to run off. And then the police try to go, wait, and he waits. He's like, they're like, what was that? And he goes, K2. He goes, that's legal. And then they grabbed his hand and put it like, oh, sorry, they didn't grab his hand. They told him to move his hand and dump it. So the kid dumped it on the cement. And then he watched from the other street as they took me. As they put me in the car and the cops got in the car, he went back and he picked the K2 off the cement. Yes, he did. I saw it from the window. Just as I was leaving, as the cops were pulling around the parking lot to bring me wherever, they were bringing me in for eating a bag of chips and trying to work. That kid's picking K2 out the gravel. I think these police, oh, and there's a drug dealer selling heroin or fentanyl, whatever it is, in Lawrence, right on the side of Smoke Valley. When I got back, they let me permanently kind of work there selling their K2. Before, I was just trying to, get sandwiches for putting Gatorades away. But after the police arrested me, I got upgraded to K2 salesman. Well, what's funny is the police left me alone after that. Apparently, the police knew that heroin was outside, K2 was inside. And I got employed as a K2 guy, legally under the counter. I got to sell it right in front of the police. Everybody knew. Everybody knew I was selling it. It was legal. It was considered less than tobacco. And then when it became sketchy, I left. Yep, what's going on? They made it illegal to sell in Lawrence now. They'll give you a fine. That's it. A fine. Well, I'm still good. Have fun, guys. When it starts getting the fine level and misdemeanor level and stuff, nope, I want nothing to do with it. But if I can sell it openly, hang it up, give it to whoever I want, I'll sell it. If you tell me I only can sell the regulars and everybody else I got to refuse, I don't want any part in that shit. Something sketchy's going on. Either I sell to everybody, including police officers, or I sell to nobody. If I can sell to whoever I want, then I'm okay. I can sell this to a cop. Great. I feel safe then. But if I can't sell to everybody, something sketchy is going on. And keep that in mind. Because there was a lot of sketchy things going on in Lawrence that I do not understand fully. But I do understand that the police knew there was a drug dealer selling heroin, and they never arrested him, but they arrested the other drug dealers that tried to run around selling drugs, especially the people in that block. They really heavily policed that area, that Smoke Valley block. The Burger King, that Spanish bakery. Oh my God, they were so good. They had this guava powder cake that had like thin, buttery, biscuity layers, and in between each layer was a homemade guava paste, and then it was all powdered sugar in between every layer, on top, everything as you cut into it. Oh, so good. I don't even know what they call that, like a guava cake or something. It was called guava, and then it just had a bunch of Spanish words. But I took one look at it and said, I want that. They gave me some money. They at Smoke Valley for food. They were paid. Remember, they paid me in lunch or whatever they could. Eventually, they just knew if they gave me money for lunch, I could get it next door, and I really would. Other people would spend it on drugs, but not me. I wanted the guava cake. I was hungry. Everybody knew. I go to the stores. What do you need done? Come on, come on. You must need something. You're stuck here. You want something? What do you want? Coffee? Need a liquor store run? Need a beer for your lunch break? Need a soda? Need me to I don't know. Some of them would be like, here, cover for me. I'm like, you joking? No. At Smoke Valley and La Vecina, they really would just have me stand there sometimes. I'm not kidding. When a customer came, I just had to go get somebody, but they would just have me kind of like stand there for a second. They say, come get me if somebody shows up. So you just want me to stand here. That's it? No. I want you to stand there, and when somebody you see, come get me. Okie dokie, I got that. And I would never ask anything in return. What I would do is I would offer services. And then after I provided them, just try to like have a conversation about, hey, if you need any more, let me know. See you later. And they'd be like, you don't want anything? Well, I could use some food. But no, I'm just looking for people to help out and volunteer and hoping it works out. I mean, if I keep volunteering like this and I want that sugar cane or that